So grateful that you would take time out of your evening to spend with us here tonight for the College and Career Ready Night. Just so you know, in case you were looking at doing this one or others and you couldn't choose which one, and we're glad you're here. All of these are being recorded and they will be up on the website in about a week. So if you want to go back and check out any of the other certain pathways, you can certainly do that here in about a week or so. So my name is Jeff Wardle. I am the principal at Buffalo Grove High School. I've been here for 9 years as a principal. Before that, I was not an automotive teacher, but I was a math teacher. I'm able to spend some time down in the automotive pathway, and sometimes on Wednesdays after school when we have Auto Club here at Buffalo Grove. I've learned a lot. It's definitely a pathway that I wish I had taken more seriously in high school, because now I'm trying to figure it out myself as an owner of a car and other vehicles. And it's just the problem solving skills, and all of our pathways, this one especially, is something that I love watching as I get to kind of be in this area. But I want to introduce to you who we have as our panelists. So I will just give the name and position, and then if you can just follow up after I introduce you panelists with a little bit more about your what you do, what you teach in the pathway, maybe where you are, and some of your some things that you love about this pathway. So my screen, I'm just gonna go in the order what I see. So Kurt, I see you first. Kurt Fenzel is one of our teachers in 214 at Wheeling High School. Kurt, go ahead and talk to us a little bit about yourself and your role.
Yeah, so I'm super happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I am the automotive teacher, one of the full-time automotive teachers at Wheeling High School. And this will be my 10th year at Wheeling High School, 13th year teaching, which is going by quick. And I really just love the challenges of the automotive world. And I think we're in a really unique time in the automotive world too, where things are starting to change and become electrified. And I think it's gonna be a lot to learn and a lot of new challenges ahead of us. And every day is different, which is one of the things I love about it. So really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. Yeah, we're glad you're here too. Thanks, Kurt. Sean, I see you next. Sean is the teacher at Buffalo Grove High School.
Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. Sean Murrin, 29th year teaching automotive at 2 different schools. And then I had 6 years as an auto tech before I became a teacher. Yeah, it's been an interesting career. It's been a great career. And I have the blessing of being able to be an educator and still yet dabble and work in the automotive industry as well. So it's been a great career, and look forward to answering and helping any of you the best I can tonight.
Thank you, Sean. Next up I see here is April Gregory. April is a newer position to our building, and one you might not think about it necessarily in a comprehensive high school, but invaluable to us. So April, would you explain a little bit about what you do here at Buffalo Grove and your position throughout the district?
Yes, so my title is Student Success Coach, and really what that means is I get to work with students regarding career exploration. So if you're unsure about what you want to do post-graduation, or you want to explore or get connected to a work-based learning experience like an internship or apprenticeship, I'm who you would go to talk about those experiences. And I'm actually really excited to see how the district makes that shift from, gasoline to electric. So that'll be fun to see what you guys implement and put in place for that transition. No pressure.
Great, thank you very much. And then we have outside of the district, I want to start with Jerry Hood. Jerry is a partner here with Arlington Heights Ford. Jerry, thank you so much for being on our panel. And would you introduce yourself a little bit and your role?
Absolutely. Happy to be here in my role. I've been at Arlington Heights Ford for 35 years. I'm the parts and service director, and I enjoy working with Kathy Wick, Sean, and all the kids. Anybody that would like to come down and join the program, my door is always open.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much for being here tonight as well. And we have a student with us, always a special treat. So from Hersey High School, John Hersey High School, Abraham Lopez. Abraham, would you just tell us maybe the classes you've taken in the automotive industry thus far, and maybe something that you've enjoyed about the pathway?
So I've taken all 3 years of auto, so I'm in my fourth one. I started with autos, diagnostics, vocational, and now engine performance. Um, it's it's a pretty chill class, I'd say. Well, if you're into cars, I feel like it's not a burden to you. It's something fun you can learn with, but you do have to, well, pay attention because some stuff can be hard. But overall, it's a great experience and a lot to take from.
Great. Thank you so much. So this is our panelists. I'm going to go through just a couple of slides here, and then I'll turn the slideshow off. But hopefully you're able to follow along here on the screen. Obviously, we are here for the automotive pathway tonight. If I go on to my next screen. Well, maybe I'll do it this way. All right, so we have our panelists. Let me show you this here. So this, if you get a chance, and on the very last, here we go. On the very last slide, you get a chance to, I think there's a code here, but this is from our pathways booklet. So this automotive service pathway right itself, all of our pathways have just a breakdown here of the courses that you'd want to take as a student in your 4 years of high school. Not just in the pathway, which you see kind of at the top there, and it's kind of what you heard Abraham talking about, the automotive systems, the diagnostics, the Voc autos, and the work-based learning experiences, as well as your core areas, and then some other of your electives and courses that are required for graduation. So again, take a look at this anytime in the pathways booklet. And that's what's described here. So I'll make this big again for us. Again, on our 214 website, if you go down there to academics and academic programs and pathways guide for all the families and students out there, great spot to just look at all of the offerings that we have in the district, and specifically then, of course, for this program. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing, and then we will jump into our panelists and their questions. All right. So let's start with Mr. Hood, if you would, from Arlington Heights Ford. Tell us a little bit about your job. Kind of, you said you've been for 35 years. So kind of your progression, what do you do now? And kind of what was your progression through this industry to get to where you are now?
It's been a long road at 35 years, as everybody on this panel knows. The automotive industry is challenging and it's changing daily, as you all know. I started at Arlington Heights Ford in 1987 as a service advisor, and through the years I have advanced into being the service director, parts and service director. I find it very challenging. It's an everyday challenge. There's so many changes going on right now. As you stated earlier, with the electric portion of the vehicle, etc. How fast is that going to go? Well, I guess we're all going to see. Trying to find students that want to get into this business right now is probably the biggest challenge not only I, but everybody I deal with in the automotive business has. And I try to make all of these meetings I can. I apologize. I have missed a few, being part of Parkland College and UTI. But we are out there trying to advance and promote with Kathy, who I got to say again, does an excellent job trying to get these students back into the blue collar world.
Yeah, and I think that whole world has even kind of changed if you go into even our auto shops here in the district, or of course yours over there at Arlington Heights Ford. Just the pristine nature of what those shops look like are not what maybe we would picture. And I know we try to replicate that here in our buildings. And if I talk to the teachers here, so Mr. Fenzel, Mr. Murin, tell me a little bit, just again, if you kind of just quickly talk us through the progression of courses, especially with what kind of certifications might there be offered, or even dual credit possibilities if a student sticks within this pathway. Kurt, start with you and then jump over.
All right. The pathways, we have several classes that students can take, but for the most part, students will start with auto systems, which is the class that I call everything and everything about maintenance. And then they move into diagnostics, which is you take all those maintenance concepts and apply them when things go wrong. So we're doing the maintaining in the first class and moving into some of more of those advanced things. And as we get into the second class, it's really exploring, all right, the car is doing this, it's not supposed to be doing this. How do we look into that? And exploring a little bit more with electricity in that class as well. And then a lot of students move into college vocational auto, which is a dual credit class. So we have dual credit with Triton College. And a part of that dual credit, they are required to take an ASE, Automotive Service Excellence certification test. And that's a general maintenance and light repair test. And some students from there will go into an apprenticeship in their fourth year. Some of them will go into engine performance, depending on the school's availability and teaching ability, or not teaching ability, but teaching availability is what I was trying to say. And throughout all of our classes, there's many certifications they could offer. We do, I don't know if you still do the oil certification, but we have Valvoline certification. Students get certified with lift certifications, and they're not just fake certifications, they're the real deal. So they're getting certified with lift safety through ALI, which is the Automotive Lift Institute. And all of our instructors are also certified as well. So we all have our ASC accredited programs. We're all ASC certified technicians. We get 20 plus hours of training every year with current trends and things like that. So we're also in the heart of it too. So Sean, do you have anything that you want to add? I don't want to talk the whole time.
No, you did a nice job with the classes. The only thing I will add is some of the schools also offer a post program. So in their fourth year of their classwork, they can actually go off site, and that's one of the reasons Jerry Hood is here. He's been working with us for many years off and on, taking our kids on and helping their training. He had mentioned Kathy Wicks a little bit earlier in the presentation. Kathy Wicks is over at our central offices. She is part of the Center for Career Discovery, and along with her office, and then as well as April, who's on our panel tonight, they're helping those students transition from high school into real world jobs as they graduate. So our students have choices. They can leave high school and go right into learning more about the trades, but we also have the ability to get many of our students set up with jobs, not only while in high school, but internships, apprenticeships while in high school, but post high school as well. And that's where Jerry Hood comes in. He's been a great partner with our district for years. And but that's also the Kathy Wicks that Jerry was referring to.
Thank you for the context, Sean. Abram, I'm going to jump to you now as a student, and I don't know the answer to this. If you've had a chance to have any external experiences in the auto industry, sounds like you've taken 3 full years already, but can you talk to us a little bit about maybe some of your favorite things about this pathway and the classes you've taken? And then I'm curious if you've been able to jump into any of the work programs or internship or apprenticeship programs in the auto industry.
All right, so for me, I don't know how people think, other people, but it's very simple for me. Cars is just, it attracts me. Something I can do for hours and hours and on, that I don't feel like a burden. I don't feel like it's like I'm in a class sitting down, falling asleep. I actually find this enjoyable. That's one of the reasons I took the automotive course throughout high school right now. And yes, I'm also taking the last class, which is engine performance, and I've tweaked my schedule to be able to leave class every day to be able to go to the apprenticeship. And I go Monday to Fridays for that.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the apprenticeship and kind of what do you do there? What's your responsibilities?
Well, first, it was more of a look and learn type of thing. So I can get familiarized and used to how things are actually run in a dealership, how everything works around there. And then it starts getting a bit more hands-on, and then more and more. Like right now, I've been there, I think, 3 months. So right now I'm currently working alone as a loop tech. So I'll do typical oil changes, tire rotations, switch tires and everything. And once in a while, I'll help other partners out with whatever they need, if it's brakes or something else.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and allow me to jump in there if I may. You know, Abraham said something that was very important. The first, little bit of time that he was over at this case Ford, it was a watch and learn, which is absolutely the case. Jerry does a nice job with those kids. He pairs them up with a mentor at his facility. And absolutely, we want to keep the kids safe. Even in our high schools and our classes, we're dealing with non-traditional type classes with cars being lifted and chemicals and different kinds of things. And for all of us, it's always about safety. And I know our partners offsite feel the same way. But also what's great about Jerry and what he does is, as Abraham was again saying, after the watch and learn period and when he's ready, I mean, he's working by himself on these vehicles while he's still in high school. And that's with the prep work that we're giving him while in high school. And then, his confidence and his desire to want to pursue this as an industry. So he's doing a great job. And I just want to point out how this program can work very well for the students that are motivated to do it.
Yes. Excuse me, Sean, thank you very much. And I am all about safety they must learn first that they're putting a car above their head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll follow up, like Jerry and I know each other from working through the school district, and I've watched Jerry, and that's a busy shop over there. If anybody knows Arlington Heights Ford, they're a top-notch dealership at doing a lot of work. But I think all of our partners that we vet to send students to, not just the automotive program, it is about student success and student safety. And I do truly believe Jerry realizes that and knows that and has worked great with us. So hats off to you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really couldn't do this without the many, many partners that we have that are willing to do this and go through our process, and then, take students and allow them to have that learning process. And that brings me over to kind of to April in your role, April, in the buildings. Can you describe a little bit more about how you get a student like Abraham to go from a freshman thinking maybe automotive, I like getting my hands dirty, I enjoy this more than sitting in a classroom, traditional classroom, to what is your pathway and what are some opportunities that might be in your field and your pathway? April, how do you do that?
So first, I'd like to say, Abraham, it really sounds like you found your passion. And the fact you say it comes easy to you, that you like it, that you're motivated by it, like that's really great to hear. A lot of students that come to me are still searching for that. They're still looking and trying to decide what it is that they want to do. And so if we have prospective students on here, maybe we have some 8th graders on here who are thinking about, an automotive pathway. I would say one, choose an automotive elective, try out that first course, get to know your teachers. I don't know if you guys know, there's full garages in our high schools, and the work-based learning that's available to you in this pathway is really incredible. I would say if you're not sure, we do a lot of career exploration. So for me, I like to just get to know who you are as a human. What do you like? What are your interests? What activities are you a part of? Oftentimes we'll move into a career assessment to just see what that might say and see whether that sounds like you or it doesn't sound like you as a student. And then from there, depending on what your interests are or what you want to explore, then we kind of talk about those work-based learning experiences outside of the school walls. And so with the automotive pathway, you have that apprenticeship opportunity where you earn money and go to school at the same time. You're learning the trade, you're building competencies, you're out in a real world experience that really just helps you affirm and the career of becoming an auto mechanic or whatever it is that you choose to be. So it's a lot of exploration. It's like, let's think outside the box, let's try some stuff and see what sticks.
Awesome. Awesome. And if you look at kind of, I guess, what sticks there, Jerry, I want to jump back to you. I know it is difficult, and you mentioned it, and I've heard this to find even people interested in it going into the field right now. But what are you looking for? If you had multiple candidates, what makes someone kind of rise? What are the personality traits and also even certifications or industry standards that you would want someone in your field to have out of high school as they would like to work in your industry?
Boy, excuse me. I guess the first thing I would say is take a picture of Abraham, because he's done an outstanding job. And when you go back to saying he gets paid while he learns, and he has a job all summer long, as many hours as he'd like to work. So the biggest thing I look for in somebody is obviously the will to want to succeed. They have to wanna. They've got to stay off their telephones, and they gotta believe they can. And when they show the interest that Abraham does, he's going to succeed in this world. Whether it's automotive or if he gets into anything else, it doesn't matter. He's going to succeed because he knows he needs to.
Yeah, I think in so many fields too, just that perseverance, that willingness to work hard, to rise and kind of be excellent, is definitely true. Sean and Kurt, Mr. Murin and Mr. Fenzel, you talked about some of the certifications. What else do you have any like special programs, field trips, clubs, things that are kind of tangentially around the pathway itself, maybe some of the fun things in a sense, if you will? What opportunities are there for those kinds of opportunities in high school? Sean, I'll start with you first this time.
I'll go first this time. Off the top of my head, I just think of some of the activities and things we do. Obviously, COVID has shut down a lot of field trips and stuff that we have done, but some of the schools will take a trip down to the Chicago Auto Show. Some of the schools will go to the World of Wheels, which does a career day there. There's some different explorations that we have field trip wise in that avenue. Many of the programs also offer a high mileage vehicle competition where they're building these I don't want to call them go-karts, they're not, but they're using small Briggs and Stratton type engines, building this car from scratch that the kids make and design. And then we run it down at Joliet on the Autobahn to see how many miles per gallon they can get, with schools getting over 200, 300 miles per gallon on these cars that we hand build in class. So, some of the programs do that. There was another one that I was thinking of and I just forgot. Kurt, feel free to jump in there. So we and then some of the schools also have auto club. That was the other one I was going to say. So some of the schools have an auto club just for kids to, get away from the daily training and the academic rigor that we're trying to give our kids, but also then just to have freedom to work on their own vehicles or school vehicles to sharpen their skills. Kurt, what do you have to add?
Yeah, I think you highlighted a lot of it. I know some of the teachers also do they do a lot of staff jobs. Again, it just kind of depends on the school and how they kind of have their classes set up too. So like in my vocational class, we do a lot of staff service jobs where the students are kind of going through that whole process of doing multi-point inspections and doing, some of the jobs, not anything super crazy, but just to get some of that hands-on real world experience. So we're not always just working on shop cars. So a lot of us do that. Gosh, I just had something else too. I know some of the schools do Skills USA, which is as a competition downstate. That's something that we're getting in the beginning stages of doing at Wheeling this year. So there's schools that do that. There's really just a plethora of opportunities. A lot of schools bring, different opportunities to the students at school. So they don't, if there isn't a field trip opportunity, the students can get exposed to that at school.
Can I jump in there again?
Huh?
Can I jump in there? And then
yeah,
I just
absolutely.
want to say, Kurt and Wheeling High School just sponsored a transportation day just a month and a half ago. And he and his team did a tremendous job over there, just getting students interested in the world of transportation. So, it was a lot of Kurt thinking outside the box, going, how can we expose these students to a different avenue to be excited about it. So, that's another experience. And sometimes these experiences pop out of nowhere, where all of a sudden something clicks for our students. Recently, I know April and another one of our staff members at Buffalo Grove attended a ComEd Career Day, just to see if even how does ComEd support vehicles, and or what other jobs can our students, even in the automotive pathway, explore. After they went on that field trip, I actually looked up in NICOR. NICOR uses fleet mechanics all the time to service their vehicles. So we're constantly finding new ways to introduce the kids to new things as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And some of these pathways, of course, they have some overlap, as you were kind of talking about, Sean. And we're talking automotive, and especially kind of mechanical here. There's an aviation pathway that a lot of those mechanicals will overlap, and opportunities there. So again, while we're here about automotive, we're really here about finding the passion, and then giving you a spot for that. Abraham, let me jump back to you. I think you've impressed us all already as a student in your passion here in this field. But if I can ask, what's the dream? Where do you see yourself maybe after high school? What plans might you have or hope to have, either continuing education or jumping right into the industry? Yeah, what are your thoughts for after high school?
So my plans is I graduate in December, so I'll have an early graduation, so I can start earlier my career. So on January 30th, I plan to start going to UTI for auto and diesel, which should take me about a year and a half, and then from there work my way up, and then hopefully one day just have my own shop of my own.
Great. No, that's great. Abram, with what I know about you so far already, I think it's going to happen. You just keep working hard. But there's a question here in the chat that I noticed along kind of these lines. And Jerry, and maybe for you, you may know the most, but the question is, what are the optimal career opportunities for students interested in this automotive pathway with a college degree? Well, how does maybe the college and post-secondary, what kind of degrees, certifications, what could those lead to?
Can I jump in on that one?
Sure.
The crazy part is there's so many. I mean, I don't think that can be answered in any type of answer. And what we're finding out is there are so many different avenues and pathways, and it's not just I want to be an auto technician someday. I mean, there are 1,000 different avenues and choices you can make, from automotive engineer, even Southern Illinois and Ferris State are the two 4-year universities that support full automotive programs. And, they have automotive engineering degrees. A lot of them end up working for like companies like Bosch in research and development and programming. We have a 214 grad that's working with General Motors in their Corvette division, designing and doing stuff with the Corvettes. And I'm sure Kurt has a million other examples, but, even to, a student, as I said, working as a fleet mechanic over with NICOR, or working across the street. And so it's a tough answer, because there are so many different things. And as 214 automotive teachers, we are constantly looking and exploring different avenues. That transportation day that Kurt and Wheeling put on a month ago, they had all kinds of different vendors there. They had different companies from locally that were there that were, trying to get kids to go, hey, we got opportunities, and here's what kind of education you need. So the sky's the limit. It's getting into automotive classes to begin with and go, I like this, but what can I do with it? And then using, your April Gregory at your school to go help me find, here's my passion. Help me find which direction to go. It's using your automotive teacher and your school counselor and even your peers in school to go, what choices do I have? And I think if you use that, that's the best way to answer that question. Sean,
well said. And the sky is the limit. I mean, there's no end to it. I have kids that have come out of UTI that have been with me 10 years. They're very close to six figures a year. And the biggest thing about the kids I find when they come to me is they need patience. They think the first couple of weeks they should be taking engines apart and working on the technology side of things, which is very difficult, the ABS system, the electric steering now, etc.,
Mm.
so on and so forth. And it takes time and patience, but within a 5 year span, I mean, it's endless. And the learning and the training that Ford Motor Company gives never stops. They
Yeah.
continue to train online to get certifications and go to class at least 80 hours a year.
Yeah, and that's part of it, as Jerry's saying, if you just stay in the automotive industry itself, there's four-year colleges, there's trade schools, there's Triton College that we work with for a 2-year degree as an associate's, or even just their certificate program. Our kids get dual credit through them if they complete our third-year class. And there's just right into the work field. So kids could just skip the education, go into the work field, and or they got the on the job, because Ford does, as Jerry said, have that extensive certification process and on the job training. They want you to continue your knowledge. So there are so many different avenues. It's up to that individual student, as far as, like Abraham has his goal set. Like he's like, this is what I want to do. And he'll achieve it because he has his goal set. But there are many different avenues. And that's a discussion with the teacher. And like I said, that April Gregory, whoever that is at each of the individual buildings, to kind of work with and help guide.
Yeah, software engineers too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, I
that's
see, I
that's
see
a
the Amazon
gigantic part of
boxes.
it now.
Yeah, so I see the Amazon boxes dropped off in my door every day, and someone's got that fleet. I mean, just the opportunities there to keep all of those fleets going. So, April, let me jump over to you. I know you're this is a newer position, and you're a little bit newer to us last year and this year, but do you have any success stories you could share about a student that wasn't sure what they wanted to do? Even generally, could be automotive, could be in general, or a kid who's just really enjoying what they're doing right now. And then for anyone here that's on here listening, how would they, if they're eighth graders next year or current students, how would they find you to even begin a conversation with the person like you at their school?
So there are so many great stories. I'm I'm just trying to find the right one. But I think ultimately what a work-based learning experience does is it really helps you, like, more than figuring out your path, it really helps like you as a whole person. So you're learning like those necessary skills to join the workforce after you graduate. So sometimes I'll work with students on like building a resume or doing interview skills. Today I was in a classroom doing mock interviews with our personal finance students. And it's just a really great way for you to kind of gain those skills that are important in work: communication, writing emails, all of those things. A success story would be, there was a Buffalo Grove student who she's kind of going back and forth between wanting to own her own bakery and being a graphic design person. And so the beauty of the internship experience, or work-based learning internship experience, is that she doesn't have to do just one, she can do two over the course of her high school career. So this past summer, she worked at a bakery in downtown Arlington Heights and really just kind of got to see that world, and waking up early. And I think after her time was up, she was offered a position to work in their bakery. And so now she's getting paid for the experience, even though, internships are typically unpaid. And she's also going to have the opportunity to do like a graphic design internship. And and that's, I think, what's so great about 214 is that they really do encourage you to explore. You're not just sort of pinned into one career or one pathway. You know, if you clearly know, like Abraham, I mean, you're going to want to do everything you can and take every course you can while you're here in high school to really maximize the educational experience that you get. But if you are curious, you can find me in the College and Career Center. And so any student success coach is generally in the student services area. And if you can connect with your counselor, and your counselor can come and find the student success coach in the building. And really, yeah, we're here. The success coaches are here to just be an extension and a resource to students to just sort of process and explore and think about the different opportunities that are available to them.
Perfect. No, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Jerry, last question for you would be, what advice would you give to a high school student that's interested in the automotive pathway or in this field?
My advice would be, if they are interested in the automotive field, I would advise them to stick with the programs that you guys have at a young age and go into places like our dealership and get experience, follow the career path, and obviously educate them on what they can and can't do, what they could and couldn't make, and the opportunities that lie ahead of them. Not everybody can do a 4-year college. A lot of these kids need to come out of school, and the blue collar worker right now is shorter than it's ever been. I mean, not just automotive, from plumbers to electricians. I hear it every day from everybody coming in and out of the dealership saying the same thing. We need help.
Yeah.
The
You as well.
opportunities are endless.
Yeah. That's why I think these partnerships are so important to get kids on that track, on that field.
I agree.
The need is great.
You bet.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jerry.
I'd like to have 10 more Abrahams. So Sean and Kurt, whatever you guys can do, my door is open. He is definitely an outstanding young man, and he does have his goals set, and he will be an example for other students.
Awesome. We have probably a student here in the chat that asked a question, probably more for Kurt or Sean. Do any of our classes have anything to do with designing car parts, kind of the design focus? I know maybe some of our outside programs or robot kind of that's, tangentially connected there, but how would you answer that question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kurt. You go first, Kurt.
We have a whole engineering pathway that has all different types of progressions and starting points. We have a beginner or starting point engineering class called Engineering Essentials, which would tap into that. And certainly all the different types of clubs. We have, Robot Rumble, where students design and build fighting robots. That program's been going on for a really long time now. And that just kind of depends. I wouldn't say that any of those specifically have to do just with designing car parts, but definitely you're going to learn the skills to be able to do that. And they're definitely designing parts that go into assemblies, which would be right up the alley of designing car parts. So the beginner class for engineering at our schools is called Engineering Essentials. It used to be called Introduction to Engineering and Design. It switched to Engineering Essentials for this school year.
Yeah, and at BG, every program's slightly different. Every school has slightly different ways of doing things. So in an automotive class, as far as designing, not so much, except for when you're working on that high mileage car. Those kids are starting from scratch and have nothing, and then they have to develop and design and build a car. And we have a 3D printer in our auto shop, and sometimes we're 3D printing parts to put on this high mileage car. So there are opportunities, and some others can arise, but we also, besides the EE class that Mr. Fenzel was speaking of, we also have a CAD class that we revamped this year. And, the teacher in there is also doing CAD, but exploring different venues for it. So he's looking at CAD in an automotive world, CAD in a graphics world, CAD in a manufacturing world, and try to incorporate with those kids. Okay, it is a CAD class, a computer aided design class, but it doesn't mean you can't tailor it towards an automotive or a construction side or a manufacturing. So, there are opportunities within your building. And that's where I think whether you're especially for the incoming 8th graders, as you look into your school, it's really important to study that academic handbook and that course catalog. It's really important to talk to your counselor and truly understand what opportunities are there, what classes are there, and read the descriptions on the different classes, because that will definitely help as to guide you. Maybe it's not a first year automotive class, even though you're interested in automotive, but maybe the CAD class is more interesting as a freshman, or maybe that EE class is. I know schedules are limited, so really read those course descriptions and reach out to your teachers and counselors in the building if you need help picking classes.
Great. Well, our time is beginning to wrap up. So I want to allow for any last questions. Feel free to put those in the chat to our panelists. Any chance for any last thoughts? And I want to thank everyone so much. So Jerry Hood, thank you so much from Arlington Heights Ford. Abraham, it was a pleasure to hear you and your path and your goals. April, thanks for all you do for so many of our kids and all the different pathways. Sean and Kurt, every day working in this pathway and the other pathways. I know you guys aren't only automotive pathway, but thanks for being on here tonight. And a reminder to everyone, again, these are recorded. So this pathway and all the other conversations that are happening tonight are being recorded. They'll be uploaded within the next week or so onto the District 214 website. So if you want to review any of this material or go back to look at any of the other ones, or reach out to any of us here from at least District 214, of course, you can always get to us through the website as well. So thank you, everybody.